we finally know what binding vow Sukuna made in order to defeat Gojo. For those who don't know, I always theorized that Sukuna used a binding vow to skip the chant and incantation in order to use the World Cutting Slash on Gojo. However, up until recently, we didn't know what he would sacrifice, so I always assumed maybe it was the Ten Shadows Curse technique. But now it turns out what he sacrificed was the ability to use the World Cutting Slash with just a hand sign. In other words, before, he could use the World Cutting Slash with just two hands and a hand sign that was similar to this, except with the index finger and middle finger. But since he was in a heavily damaged state against Gojo and only had one hand, he imposed a binding vow that made that all World Cutting Slashes after the one he used on Gojo would require the hand sign, an incantation, and to point specifically at its target, which is hugely and drastically different than the way he had to do it against Gojo, which shows that he was so desperate to defeat Gojo in that moment, he had to permanently change the way the World Cutting Slash works just to use it one time. Which also means if Gojo does come back, he could very easily dodge the World Cutting Slash because it won't be instantaneous anymore and it will require a chant and hand sign. Which also once again proves that Sukuna was taking Gojo very seriously. He was not, quote, holding back in the conventional sense.